Well, welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we're going to be working over here on this here carport. I want to get it enclosed, and I still have to order the metal for it. But I woke up this morning and didn't have much water pressure. I thought, that's kind of weird. So I went down the basement and I was looking, and I found out that my well was only building about at a maximum 25, 30 PSI. So I started looking into it. And let's go down there. I'll show you what I found. All right, so we're down here, and here's my bladder tank. Here's my pressure switch. And I found a couple things. It still doesn't build pressure, but a couple clues kind of tipped me off to what might have happened. I'm not sure. So on this side here, let me see if I can get you in there real good. You can see that it's got some kind of scorch marks where it's arced out. I actually took some sandpaper and I sanded the contacts on that pressure switch, and those are right there, right above those screws that opens and closes. And so that way it'd make better contact. So I don't know if that was what messed up the pump, or if I got a check valve that's failed, but we'll go ahead and put that back on. Right now I don't have it on because there's no sense in letting the pump run non-stop when it's only going to get up to about 30 here. And so I'll let it run, get up to 30, and I'll shut off the main valve to the house. So probably what I'm going to have to do is end up calling a well company, and they can come out and pull the pump out. Probably it's got sediment on it, or the pump is bad, or the check valve isn't working right, which I know is the case. Because when I shut it off, this doesn't hold any kind of pressure at all. It gets down to about 20, and then all of a sudden drops off and then draws a vacuum. I can open this up. There you go, you heard it suck air from this hose here, which I have for just getting water in the basement while I'm doing mortar work. But yeah, so we're gonna get a hold of the well company this morning, have them come out, and let's see what happens, see what they tell us. Okay, so my goal on this thing is to completely enclose it. As you can see on the back there in the previous video, I showed you how I did that, but let's go back there and I'll show you how I built this wall and why I did it. It was probably late winter, and we got a really bad storm that come through here, and so this carport would sway a good foot this way and a good foot that way, so about a 2-foot sway. And I ended up putting this grid in here, and it stabilized it. You can't move it at all now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach metal just like I did on this one, same direction. I'm going to attach metal, and I put these at 3 foot on center because that's what that metal is. It's 3 foot wide. So we'll start at the top, put a piece in, and then work our way down. And by the time we get to the bottom, we're going to have, I think, about 2 inches of this exposed. So I'll probably go along and with some white paint, and I'll paint the bottom piece there. The other thing I noticed is when you put studs this way, they're not very strong. So I have a feeling that wind will end up blowing this and pushing it. So what I'm thinking is I'll take maybe some lumber and I'll screw it along that bottom piece. I might even screw it along this one and that one, just to help stabilize this wall a little bit so that we're not worried about the wind blowing it in. Now on this carport over here, I left the front open, and because I did that, I installed a louver, and that louver is the best thing I've ever done, because I don't want, in the wintertime, when the wind's coming out of the north mostly, I don't want wind to come in there and pick that carport up and move it. And that louver prevents that. Now, on the front here, we're gonna build, just like we did there, we're gonna build a peak. I believe probably 8 foot up. And this side might be done a little bit different. I may actually just go horizontal with the metal here. And then for the sides, I might just run the metal here up and down on both side pieces. And then I want to build 2 4-foot doors that swing to the outside. So let's go over here and I'll show you the material I got and how we're going to do it. All right, so I went out back and I don't have much 2x4, if that's what you want to call it, studs. So we did the 2x6s, and that's what I'm going to use to build the front. And then I had this piece here. Let me see if I can flip that. All right, so I got it on here. So this is a good, really thick piece of, I'd say about 3-inch. It's metric. It come from Germany, but about 3-inch wide C-channel. The only problem I've got is I'm going to have to grind off all of these studs that are on it all the way down, which are quite a few. And what I'm going to do with this is it's going to lay like that on the ground. Okay, so it won't have those studs on it. And I'm going to push it. It's going to go right across the bottom there, and I'm going to push it right down into the driveway. Go drive over it or something. And that's going to be a base, so it'll be, you know, maybe 1/4 inch higher than the surface of the ground, maybe 1/2 inch. And basically it's long enough that what I'm going to do is the side walls, I'm going to end up screwing to the top of this. So that'll give it some more stability at the bottom for me to build my doors and have them open without having a lot of flex. So let me get grinding. I'll get this piece all cleaned up first, and then we'll get to installing the front structure on it. All right, I got all these studs cut off, as you can see. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a grinder with a thicker wheel on it and grind these all flat and smooth. Probably take a wire wheel, clean it up, and then throw some paint on it just to help prolong the life of this piece of metal. So get going on that. All right, so I got all the metal ground down. You can see it's nice and flat. It's not perfect, I don't really care. And looks pretty good though. This is the stuff I used. It's an enamel based paint. I've got cans and cans of this stuff, so kind of made sense to use it up. So that's done. I'm gonna let it sit here and dry. That is a fast drying enamel paint, so it won't take long. And let's go ahead and get started on that. All right, so what I've done is I've measured from the ground on this side. This side's actually a little higher than that side is. And I measured up 7 feet and put a mark. And what I'm gonna do is level this piece, this top piece, across and screw it on. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get a measurement and cut that. But I had the well people show up, and it turns out that the pipe where it connects to my pump, that pipe had cracked on the top of the pump. So the pump just couldn't build any pressure because it had a leak. So that's a good thing. I didn't have to buy a $2,500 pump, and it was a $300 repair. So well worth the call. They ended up putting a pressure switch on as well that was arced out, and it was bad. So got out pretty easy on that one. So anyway, let's go cut that piece of metal and stick it up there and see what it looks like. All right, so what I've done is I've put one of these squeeze clamps up here, and this top bar is where my mark is. So I'm gonna go to the other side here, and I've just trimmed this down a little bit. I haven't trimmed it down the whole length to where it needs to fit in there. And Hopefully I did this right. That's where we're at. Actually, I forgot my level, so let me go grab that. All right, got a level. So basically, we're just gonna hold this up here and figure out where we're level. Right about there looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and place this side so it holds it right there. There we go. Now that we've got that level, I want to stand back and take a look at it. But basically what you're going to do is come on the inside and you're going to draw on the edge of this and get your profile. And then you can go back and cut it. Yeah, that looks good to me. So I got a Sharpie marker here and I'm just going to go ahead and trace this out. There we go. So go ahead and cut it and screw it down. All right, so I got the profile cut and you can see that I notched it out because this flat part here is going to screw onto those hoops that are on there. So let's go ahead and screw it on. That's it right there. Perfect. Now, I'll put 3 screws in each side, and then we're going to go ahead and make our gussets to go up to the peak. Okay. Got the gusset put in up here. I think that's as far as I'm going to go with that. I got the side walls and this bottom piece put in on both of these. On this C channel, I've got it slightly tilted to the outside so rain don't naturally want to go in. So it is at a slight angle. The other thing I've done here is I have drilled and tapped and put 2 1/4 bolts to hold this to this piece of C channel. So what I'm going to do next is put in a board and screw it to this thing so it gives it extra support when I mount the door. I'll probably do the same thing up here, put a board up there for extra support, same thing on that side. I think we're done with the framing part of this. I'm going to call this part 1 and end the video, and I've got to go and call my local steel supplier and get quotes on everything and get this stuff on order. So I hope you guys have a good day, and we'll see you on the next video.